Hello, 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 hello. 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 Is this thing working? Is anything working? Better shut that fan off. I bet that's really loud.
This is my favorite classy gift again.
Oh, not as loud as that though. Ah, ah, ah. Loud as that though. Okay. All right. All right. Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what that sound was. So this is really more of a test to find out whether or not our live stream is working. But I want to, let's see. I don't think my picture in picture is working. No, it's not. This was really trying to test and find out whether or not we're going to be able to do a live stream or not, because we've had some issues with our interwebs here on the perilous island. So, uh, boop. We are going to look at the magic cards today. We're going to talk a little bit about the magic card, where magic, Pulp Alley Magic, and where we're at with it. We're going to talk about maybe look at some of the individual cards. I think I may try to do this test stream here, maybe for about 30 minutes or so, more until I get tired. And then, which, could be 5 minutes. And then I think we'll look at the magic cards, and then maybe we'll do another stream later today as another test to find out whether or not we're even going to bother trying to do a live game tomorrow. So I'd like to at least be able to test it, because we did a live stream on Wednesday and it went off without a hitch. But then when we tried to do our regularly scheduled live stream on Thursday night, crashed and burned. So it's kind of touch and go right now, and we're trying to figure out exactly where the issue is. Maybe it's in the downstream. Don't really know. I'm gonna get my glasses and show you where we're at with the spell deck. So even if you're watching this at a later time, you don't want to miss this, because we're gonna talk about some cool stuff here, and we're gonna give you an idea about where we're at with the magic so far. So, because we are players, right? Because we are actually Pulp Alley players, not just designers. It's important to us that the game actually. Oh, those are filthy. It's important to us that the game actually works well, because we play the game. We're not just trying to sell you something and hype you on it. We actually play the game, and have for a very long time. So we want to make sure that we are happy with how it plays. So recently we added about another 10 or six new spells. So, and then I have another idea that's kind of been bothering me for a while, and something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and that was maybe changing the name of the ephemeral spells. So I don't know, like right now, to me, ephemeral means something, and it means exactly really what I want it to mean, as far as, the ephemeral spells. So on the back of these, they say ephemeral. So the ephemeral spells are just like, singular spells. They happen and then they go away. They're a burst of energy. They're a spell that occurs, and then maybe it will have a lingering effect if it's something that causes damage or something like that. But other than that, the spell itself does not linger. And what that means is that it happens in just a moment, and then it's over and done. And to me, that kind of represents ephemeral, the kind of fleeting nature of the spell. But I do feel like it's not a term that maybe is as meaningful to other folks as it is to me. So I've been toying with the idea of maybe changing instead of calling it ephemeral, and then also just because ephemeral and enchantment, they both begin with an E, for what it's worth. Maybe it's not as easily recognizable if you look at, if you're just glancing at the two. They look fairly similar. So maybe if I changed the name of the ephemeral spells to sorcery, maybe that would be, maybe I would be happier with that. I'd like your feedback on that. New Pond Skipper, howdy howdy. If you have any feedback on that, to instead of calling them ephemeral spells, calling them sorcery spells. But let's look at them. Let's look at the ephemeral spells. So this is currently, and this is all playtest time right now. This is all stuff that we are working on. So everything that you see is subject to change. So this is, the cover of the spell deck. It includes 50 cards, and this is the 50 cards laid out here in front of you. The miniatures are not included. So Jerry came over this week and helped me finish up this little fella. Do you guys know SF3D, or what's it called, Ma-K or whatever, Maschinenkrieger? And then this one is a Bandai. This is some sort of flying thingy. I thought it would be fun to use in, I see these sort of things and I just go, oh, well, I can use that in Pulp Alley, and I can use that in Pulp Alley. Anyway, let's look at spells. So this is the deck all laid out in its glory right here. So right now, if we're just looking at the ephemeral spells, you have 9 to pick from. Plus, is it 9? Yeah. So, and then also 9 enchantments. So there's no reason why you can't mix those two together. So you can, when you're selecting your spells, you have a lot of freedom. The first thing that you're going to think about is what level it is. So the level of the spell is indicated here. And so a level 2 character cannot take a level 3 spell. In other words, they can only take level 2 spells. And then on and on up to, your level 4 spell. There's not very many level 4 spells right now. And then you have your level 3 and your level 2. And then the next thing is, kind of pinning it down to what your character is good at. So if your character has a high might, and really you're going to probably want about 3 dice in either might, finesse, or cunning if you're going to be a spellcaster. You're going to want to have, I think, using 2 dice is, what is that, like a 25% chance of success if it's not opposed. If it's an opposed spell, then you really want to make sure you have at least 3 dice, maybe even head towards 4 dice. Because if it's an opposed spell, you must win the opposed check for your spell to have any effect. So anytime you cast a spell directly at an enemy, then that is an opposed spell. And it will actually say on the spell whether or not it's opposed or not. So it's not something you have to guess at. So some things that affect an enemy still are not opposed because they are not cast directly at that enemy. So here's one that says Stupor. And it tells you, well, I wanted to focus on the ephemerals. Let's see here. Ephemeral spells. There's one. Tumultus. It says ephemeral. It says targeted. If the spell says targeted, then that means you must identify the target before you roll your dice. That's what the difference is of it being targeted. If it's not targeted, then, so all of these are targeted. Here's one that's not targeted, and it's called Obscuro. Notice that it does not have a targeted. You still pick targets, but the targets are picked after you determine the power of the spell because it can affect multiple targets. You roll your finesse, you determine what the power of the spell is, and then you can pick the number of targets. So that's the difference there. So these are, all three of these are targeted. You can see, because it says so, targeted. That means you pick the target before you cast the spell. So Ignis Ignis is probably by far the most popular spell out of the whole match. You know, just about anybody that starts looking at spells picks Ignis Ignis. This is like your Flame Strike, your Fire Strike, your zappy spell that goes boom boom. Very straightforward spell. It's a might versus might, which means you've got to win a might check to overcome the enemy. And then the target suffers a number of hits equal to the power of the spell. Now, down here at the bottom is called the miscast. So a spell is considered to be miscast if you fail to roll any successes. If you roll absolutely no successes when you roll to throw your spell, that is a miscast. And you will automatically, anytime you are playing with forces which you cannot control, which obviously you can't control it because you just rolled full failures, then you're going to get X horror cards immediately. So there is a danger to trying to cast spells if you cannot control it, right? So you don't want like a guy with just 2 cunning or with 1 cunning or 1 might trying to cast some of these spells, because not only can they be a danger to themselves, they can be a danger to the people around them as well. Yay, I'm a danger to myself and others. Ephemeral works for me. Cantrip in my head due to D&D. Very cool. Sorcery to me tends to feel like a mighty magic that lasts. Interesting. Cantrips are much more in line with a quick spell. Interesting. I guess cantrip to me, not just a quick spell. To me, when I think of cantrip, I think of a minor spell. And these are ephemeral spells, although they are quick and they happen, like Ignis Ignis is an ephemeral spell. Cantrip to me feels too minor. Like when I think of cantrip, I think of little a flash of light or something like that. I don't think of powerful spells, and ephemeral spells are powerful. They're not just little poofs of puffs of smoke and stuff. So for me, thank you for this suggestion. I love the brainstorming, and I don't mean to shoot down an idea, but I'm just explaining why I guess I probably wouldn't go that way right now. Anywho, and I understand what you're saying about sorcery. It feels mighty magic that lasts. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. We'll just kind of piddle with it a little bit. So where was I at? So you have opposed spells. A spell can be targeted or untargeted. It can be... Good morning, Ed Allen. So much. You're so glad. So this is basically a test of our live stream. This is really... We've had some technical issues going on over the last almost like 2 weeks with our fiber. And right now we have a temporary line stretched out across the yard, strung, halfway across Perilous Island to a nearby island. And I told him, I said, you can't run it just across the jungle because the dinosaurs are going to eat it. And so now whenever we take the dinosaurs out in the backyard to poop and pee, because, you got to do that. I can't just let the dinosaurs out there loose. I have to go out there and now monitor the pooping and peeing to make sure they don't destroy the fiber cable that's strewn across the yard. It's one of those first world problems. Hello, Marty Devine. So testing the fiber, testing the streaming today. we're trying, we replaced some cables, we replaced some things. We're trying to find out whether or not, this is working. And while we're at it, we're looking at the magic cards. So let's look at some spells. So this is the 50 card deck. So you have something like 18 level 2 spells. So even level 2 characters are good. There are no level 1 spells because there's no such thing as a level 1 spellcaster. So there's no reason to create level 1 spells. I guess if it was sometime in the maybe we will do some cantrips, some level 1 spells at some time. But right now it's level 2. So don't get confused by that. Why isn't there a level 1 spell? Well, because you can't anyway. Blah blah. So level 2 spells. Remember, the spells are almost always going to be based on the number of successes that you roll. You got about 18 of those, and then what do you have here? 12 level 3 spells, and then you only have 6 level 4 spells. But remember that the level 4 characters get to pick from the entire group of spells. So you can mix and match. You can take ephemeral spells and enchantments, so you're not limited to one or the other. And then the first thing when you're picking your spells, you're going to want to look at your level. Make sure you're not picking spells that are a higher level than you are. And then also you want to look at, what your character is good at. I think there's other things to consider, such as the story icons. Like, because these mean something and they will help you sometimes cast spells, I think when you have the option, and maybe this is like the third sort of, maybe even a fourth or fifth consideration when you're going down your list, is it the right level? How am I going to use this spell? Is it useful? And then you have those decisions to make between picking a spell that's very, very easy to cast and you think you're going to cast it a lot. But then also there's those specialized spells that maybe you're only going to cast once a game, but it could really, really matter. So you have to weigh those decisions. So there's a lot of things before you get down to the icon and you go, well, I guess all I would say is that when you have the option to pick different icons, you want to have different icons at the bottom of the cards. Because when you're channeling, you can get a bonus if you discard a card that has a matching icon. So, for example, we'll just look here. Here's one we're talking about is this icon down here. So when I cast Ab Initio, if I wanted to get a bonus, I could use this card to get me a bonus because it also has the gear. So if all of my cards have gears on them, right? If all of my cards have gears on them, then it'll make it harder for me to channel. So I'm probably going to do another live stream later today, maybe after lunch or so here in a couple hours, just to test the system again before we try to schedule a game for tomorrow to find out if we're going to, shoot blanks again. So we have all of these ephemeral spells. Now, for those of you that are joining later, Ed Allen and Marty Devine, I don't know if you caught the conversation about I'm considering changing the term ephemeral. Glad it's working. Technology is a pain. Yes, indeed. So to me, an ephemeral spells, it says it on the back of the card like this here. It says ephemeral or enchantments. I like the term ephemeral. Obviously, it's what I picked. But I think it's maybe a vague term that's not... To me, it's not vague. But it may not be as meaningful or evocative to other folks as it is to me. So I'm considering maybe changing that to sorcery. So you would have enchantments and sorcery spells instead of ephemeral and enchantments. So, but this is the time to change it. It's about making sure that I'm happy because I am a player also, but also making sure that it fits for what you guys, think as well. So if you have any feedback on that, throw some stream right now, rock solid. Yes, yeah. And then on Wednesday, it worked really nicely too. I still haven't got through all my cards. So we have all of these. We have all of these, sorcery spells here in blue. We have all the enchantment spells here in purple. So a fairly nice selection of different spells. Then in addition to that, we have 4 spell book cards, and this is where you will record your spells. I didn't want to include a lot of these, and maybe I'll take one of these out. I don't know. They're double-sided because I wanted to include as many of them as I could. But honestly, these are so useless because you could just as easily write it on a slip of paper, right? You could get any old piece of paper and write your spells down on it. It's just not important. So I don't want to waste a lot of my slots to cards that you could just as easily write it on anything. The slip card, that's what I call these extra cards that are just on the top of the deck. So on the back of that, it has the rules for the unstable vortex. So unstable vortex can occur due to sloppy spell work and bad luck. So if you fail, I don't want to say fail, if you do not roll any successes, when you're casting a spell, if you do not roll any successes, you draw X horror cards for that caster. So you draw the top card off the deck, and then you're going to draw, for this example, you would draw 2. Now, if the flame icon appears on the card, then not only do you get the 2 cards, but an unstable vortex also appears on the table. So that's how an unstable vortex right now. And remember, all of this is playtesting. All of this is how it stands right now, and it could be different within the next time I talk to you, because that's how I work. Honestly, I'm really happy with where we're at right now. Other than the name thing, that's still up in the air. And if I'm going to change it, I think I agree. Words means specifical. I like the term ethereal, but I'm a word nerd. Yep. Stream right now. Yeah. I like ephemeral too. I don't know. I was talking to Bessie about it earlier, and as she often does, it's like, well, do what you want. It's like, I don't know that she had a strong opinion on it. In addition to, I still haven't got all the way through all the cards. So 50 cards, and then magic items. So right now I'm down to 9. So because I added a bunch of new spells, I had to trim my magic items. Now, those of you that are familiar with our fun little family game called It Belongs in a Museum will immediately recognize some of this stuff. Hydra Tears is one of the cards in, I think all of these. I think every single one of these is an item, and the artwork is straight out of It Belongs in a Museum. So a callback there. Hydra Tears, Spirit Familiar, Serpent Amulet, Hyksos Fragment, and those of you that want to, you can freeze these later. Arcane Focus, Enochian Idol, Sequoia's Pipe. How about that? Brazen Head. Does everybody know who Sequoia? What that is? We got Brazen Head and Dryad Sprig. Maybe you have to live in Oklahoma. I don't know. So that's the 50 card deck right there. That's the 50 card deck. So let's look at how we cast spells and the way it works. So all of the spells are linked to a specific trait, a skill, I should say, might, finesse, or cunning. You really do want to avoid failures as much as possible, and no matter how much you put into how much skill you have in it, once in a while you're going to fail, because that's the nature of dice, right? So I would just strongly recommend 3 dice as kind of what you aim for if you're going to be a spellcaster. If you are I wonder how long we've streamed. We'll shoot for like 30 minutes or so, and then we'll do another one a little bit later today just to do another test. Let's see, 10, 4. There should be a time on here that tells me how long it's been streaming. Ed, what do you got to say there, brother? I'd rather have more spells or items than the spellbooks. Absolutely. Limited card count that you write on to you. Limited count cards that you write on to use feel awkward. They have the potion problem. I don't know what that means. Is it worth using actual cards this time? I don't know, and I agree. I feel like not including them, maybe I pulled 2 of them out, maybe we only do 2. I don't know. It just feels weird not having them in there. Because I think there are people, I bet you Marty would like to have the card. Hey there, Vern. Thank you for joining. Mr. Cherokee language writer. Yes, indeed. We had a good campaign going, but people started getting salty due to people getting good rolls. Love that game. "26 minutes," it says. Oh, is that on the, let's see, start is that up here? Can I see that up here? So 26 minutes ago. Okay. All right. So we'll just talk about spellcasting just real briefly. We are going to do another stream later today, probably here in another couple hours, just to kick the tires on the stream. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this too. Look at the lovely. It's so we're so sad that Vern isn't going to be able to make it to Pulpalooza this year. We would love to see all of you there. If you can, come join us in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But we got these lovely cards. And my apologies to someone named Jimmy. Mr. Jimmy Ruth, somehow you ended up with a T instead of a Y, which in my defense, I want to say looks very much like a Y. So when I do the layout for these cards, they're actually sitting sideways and they're a long ways off. So I'm going to say it's not my fault. I'm just saying. And I don't have my glasses on. So anyway, I feel awful. So that's Jimmy Ruth. I owe you a new card. I don't know that I'll get it printed. So you are going to have an opportunity to take a fun little judges certification test quiz in Albuquerque. So on the back of the card it says certified judge. Now this is not official until it's endorsed by the world's most dangerous Bessie. So I agree with Ed. Items over right on cards. Yeah. Okay. All right. At one point I had it down to 3, and then that felt like it wasn't enough of the spell books, and then I felt, well, I'd add 1 more, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do like a pack. If somebody actually just wants, maybe we take out a couple of them. Because if I take out 2, well, if I take out 1, I don't know. We'll just see. Anywho, I know that this deck is going to be changed, so we're not at the point that I could go, well, it's just such a minor difference, what's it matter anyway? But at this point, I know there are at least a couple of these cards that I've already changed. So this is not the final deck. So there's no reason not to, if I'm going to fix something, right? If I'm going to change the name to sorcery spells instead of ephemeral, now I think would be the time, which I don't think, and no matter how much of a word nerd you are, I don't think that sorcery is a stretch. Maybe it's not as pinpoint of an idea. like sorcery is more of a generic term for a catch-all term almost for magic. Um, so it just sorcery, you know, in my mind anyway. It's not as pinpoint accurate of a term maybe as an ephemeral spell is, but I don't know that most people are going to anyway. I don't want to. Let's look at these cards. So these are the folks. A lot of these folks now. Jim Stute up in Madison. He's not actually coming, but he wanted a card. He did the same thing last year. And then at the Ray, of course, each one of them is individually numbered. And we got Donovan, and we got Adam, and D-Dub. And then we're going to have a handful of blanks. So we do have a stack of blanks. So for folks that show up in Albuquerque and did not request a card, they'll still have something to do. We got Idiot, we got Sean, we got Greg, and Jim, and John, and Manny, and Kevin, and no Vern. So Vern, I'll send you your card in the next package that I send your way. I'll try and remember to send your card to you. And there's a Marty. Look right there. There's a Marty Devine. You're looking forward to seeing Marty and Chris and Joe 2025. Vic and the great Sean. The great Sean there. Jeremy, Kenneth. Oh, there's Dave. Yeah. All right. So anyway, those are the cards. And you can get your judge's certification in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's a fun little test we put together. You could probably do it without too much study or anything. It's not like it's supposed to scare you or anything. Oh no, I didn't know there was going to be a test. So there's that. All right. I'm going to try and do another stream later on, possibly just rambling nonsense like this is. Maybe I'll try to talk specifically about some of the spells and just kind of go through them and talk a little bit about individual spells. This was really more to test the stream and to make sure that we were able to stay online before we get to tomorrow, and I schedule a live game for tomorrow and then find out that it doesn't work, which happened Thursday night because we had a wonderful stream on Wednesday, and then Thursday night just a collapse. So technology, it's so frustrating. Does anybody out there else get just horribly frustrated by all of this technology crap? Incantation I don't think is a bad name either. I think that was on my list of possibilities as well. And you know, you go through and you make these lists and you try to look at them and you go, well, this or that, or this or that, or this or that. Incantation spells, enchantments and incantations. Yeah, definitely a thinker. It's my job, Dave. Technology keeps me in Pulp Alley. Oh, there we go. Damien Larson is on here. I hope Damien could come to Albuquerque. I'm not sure if wordsmithing is tough. Yeah. I have a hard time wording. Wording is not my first language. I'm more of a grunting person. Me and Tom Hardy, we would rather just grunt. You know, we figure like that. All right, that's that's. If I could go through the day and just grunt at people, I probably would. I'm hoping, and I was working on the magic book, because in addition to the deck, we're going to have a magic book. It will be a small, the size of the quick start guide. So we're looking at like 24 pages plus the 24, 25, 26 pages, somewhere in there. Hey guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button for me. Don't jump off of here without hitting that like button. That means something to us. We got to try and remember to do that. If you're not a subscriber, get subscribed. I don't know if we're going to be able to do a live game tomorrow. I'm hoping we can. Anyway, that's all we're going to talk about today, or right now. I will do another live stream impromptu later today. Probably wait till around 1 o'clock or so. I'm not going to schedule it. I'll just get on here and we'll just look at some stuff, and then we'll go from there. If you have ideas for something that you would prefer over ephemeral, leave it in the comments after this video post. If you're watching us at a later time, leave us a comment. If you like sorcery over ephemeral, if you like, if you have another suggestion, feel free to include that in the comments as well. And that's it for right now. Thank you, number 3, Newt Pond Skipper. Who got number 1? Marty Devine. Oh, how about that? I don't know what those things are. They have a little menu or something. Would love to see Damian Larson. We have Adam and his son Donovan are coming over from Utah. So it would be great to see you there. All right, that's it for right now. I'll catch you later, everybody. Doodle-doo.